We've got a charged atmosphere for two rivals in the East Division. It's the Moonshine Throwdown, Marshall and Western Kentucky.
Intercepted by Key, and Key has one man to beat. A nice cut move. Edwards can't get him. Key takes it all the way. A pick six for Devin Key.
Here comes Talik Keaton to the sideline midfield. He's to the 40, gets a block, and he is gone! Touchdown, Marshall!
So please join me in welcoming the 21st head coach in WKU football history, Tyson Helton.
And Marshall's going to finish the year 9-4 and champions of the 2018 Gasparilla Bowl, the sixth consecutive bowl win for the Marshall Thundering Herd.
Welcome back to the Moonshine Throwdown podcast. We've got a quick little episode tonight. It's just me and Trace this evening. We've given Steven the evening off because we've got something a little bit bigger planned for tomorrow night. So all we're going to talk about this evening is we have reached the culmination, the final matchup in our Moonshine Throwdown Moments bracket that will now pit the winner of the Marshall half of the bracket against the winner of the Western Kentucky half of the bracket. And no surprise, really, it was two number one seeds that made it. It might not have been the number one seeds that some folks thought would be there, but here we are. Representing the Thundering Herd side of things will be the moment that the 1999 Herd football team secured a 13-0 season and ultimately made themselves not only MAC champions, but also Motor City Bowl champions. And culminating with that moment, or coinciding with that moment would be the final AP poll ranking, which saw the Herd finish at number 10 in the country. Pretty impressive. I don't know how you want to talk about that now, or do you want to... Now, let me just talk about who's going to be repping the Western side, and then we'll talk about that stuff. So, repping the Western Kentucky side of this bracket is number one, I think Steven's number one overall seed, which is 2012. Claire Donahue winning gold medal in the 4x100 medley relay at the London Olympic Games. As we said in the first episode when we talked about all these things, that to me, and I'm in agreement with Steven, that is the height of what you can attain in your particular discipline. If you're an quote unquote amateur athlete, you can play basketball and win a gold medal, and you can play basketball and win an NBA title. So, which one is more prestigious? I can leave that up to somebody else to debate. But if you're a swimmer, it's a gold medal, and there's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, of course, there are other competitions on a world level, on a national level, but none are larger than the Olympic Games. So two very, very, very impressive moments, should we say. The path, let me talk about the path of how they got there. The Herd football team in 1999, let's see, they knocked off the 2017 softball team on their way in their first round matchup. Then the 2018 men's big dance win / Conference USA tournament championship. Then they took out the 15-0 1996 Herd 1AA national championship team. And then, in somewhat surprising fashion, I can't say that I didn't expect it, but I was a little surprised. In the battle of the number one seeds, that 99 team took down the 1992 kick by Willie Merrick to win the Herd's first 1AA national title game, and something that we called was really the turning point of the program that showed that they had arrived after that long, long rebuild. So very impressive string of victories for this 99 number one seed on its way to the final matchup. Repping the Western Kentucky half of this bracket is Claire Donahue's gold medal from the 2012 London Summer Games when she was part of that 4x100 medley relay team that, of course, took home the gold. Her pathway to the final of this Moonshine Throwdown Moments bracket started with a victory over the Toppers' first ever triple-double for the men's basketball team in 2009 by OMV, one of the all-timers. Second-round matchup saw Claire Donahue take out that dominating 2019 Tops volleyball team and all of their dominance, the 32-2 record, winning NCAA tournament matchup, Conference USA title, hosting a regional at Diddle Arena. I mean, a lot of fun there and a lot of dominance and wins around that volleyball team. Third-round matchup saw Claire Donahue take out that 2002 Tops football national title winning moment. I got to tell you, I was a little surprised at that one made it through over the 93 Sweet 16 run for the Tops. Being as how, they kind of lean towards basketball there in BGKY. In the semifinal, well, I guess it was the final matchup in the Western Kentucky half of the bracket, Claire Donahue went head-to-head with number 2 seed, 2008's Ty Rogers shot the buzzer-beating three-pointer that sent Western Kentucky to the Sweet 16 of the NCAAs, which is a really killer play. It's all over YouTube. You can find it relatively easily. So here we find ourselves in the championship matchup, the 1999 Herd football undefeated team, 13-0 MAC champion, bowl champions, number 10 in the country, against Claire Donahue and her gold medal in the 2012 London Olympic Games. 2 epic moments filtered out of all these moments to go head-to-head. Trace, talk about this Herd half, and I'm going to see if I can counteract anything that you have to say about a football moment with my gold medal moment. So make your pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, at least for the Western Kentucky side of the bracket, the final, that's the peak of what you can accomplish as an athlete. I mean, if you're an Olympic athlete and you win a gold medal, it doesn't get any bigger than that. So that's the highest level of achievement you can reach at your level of athletics. But on the flip side of that, now this is a little bit more dicey, just given the fact that college football system's way different. But what Marshall football did in 1999, at that time, that was basically the peak of what you could do as a mid-major program. I mean, if you think about it, because back then they didn't have the automatic bid into the BCS or the Power, or the New Year's Six or whatever. They didn't have that. So Marshall, whatever they had, no matter how many games they would have won, if you win the MAC, you're going to the Motor City Bowl. But nowadays, if Marshall would have went 13-0 or 12-0, whatever you want to call it, before the bowl game, if they would have went undefeated, nowadays they'd be in like the Peach Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl or whatever. But back then that didn't exist for the mid-major. So Marshall went 13-0, finished number 10 in the country, AP and the coaches poll. I mean, I wrote down a few facts about that team to kind of back up how good they were, but I kind of wanted to look at a couple other matchups on the Marshall side of things that kind of surprised me in the results. I really didn't expect, in the second round there, I didn't expect the Kansas State win to beat Pennington to Pinkerton. That one surprised me a lot. I thought that Pennington to Pinkerton play was going to go, honestly, as far as maybe the Final Four. So that one losing surprised me. Kind of a little bit surprised that the Merritt kick lost, but it did lose to the 99 football team, which is the 1 seed. So it's not like it's kind of just like 1 and 1A. It's like I said to you the other day. So, but for the most part, most of the matchups ended up how I thought they would. I actually thought that the Leftwich game getting carried down the field would upset the 96 team. That did not happen. So that one I kind of missed on my that would have been like my upset or whatever. But I missed on that one a little bit. But no, I mean, I think this is a really good matchup here in the final round. I mean, looking at that 99 football team a little closer, I wrote down a few things just to kind of, make a pitch that they should win this maybe. It depends on what side you're on. But, I mean, obviously we know they went 13-0. They finished number 10 in both polls to end the year. A few more little – I mean, they beat Clemson in the season opener. We know that. That was a huge win. And Clemson did finish 6-6 that year and lost in their bowl game. But I looked at Clemson a little closer that year, and that team was honestly a lot closer to being – they were close to being a lot better than they ended up. Because they ended up 6-6, but they had 4 losses by 4 points or fewer, and they lost to the eventual national champion Florida State, who was undefeated. They lost to them 17-14. and then they beat number 22 Virginia a week after they lost to Marshall. So, I mean, that Clemson team they were a little bit up. They were a lot closer to being really good than people realize. So that's a good win, obviously. I mean, if you're in the MAC and you go on the road to Death Valley, Clemson, South Carolina, the opener in front of 80,000 people, and you walk out there with a win, it doesn't get much bigger than that. And then, of course, they ended up beating number 25 BYU, who was number 25th ranked in the coaches poll. They beat BYU in the Motor City Bowl, just beat them handily. I mean, it was 21-3. They shut them down completely. They were also the Mountain West co-champions that year. BYU was, and Marshall, and all in all, ended up beating 4 teams that year that finished above 500, which is a pretty good resume considering you kind of can't really help who you play in conference. So they still managed to have a pretty good overall resume that year. So I mean, that team, like I said, I mean, if it would have been nowadays, they would have been playing in one of the big time bowls against a really big opponent. But because it was 1999, that didn't happen. But relatively speaking, the 99 team and Claire Donahue both, that was pretty much the peak of what you can accomplish at the levels, for the most part, relatively speaking.
Yeah. I got to be honest with you. I thought for sure that the winner of this Western Kentucky half of this bracket was going to come out of the Oldham region. I just did. I didn't think people would identify and pay the proper amount of respect to the accomplishment of a gold medal that it deserves. And honestly, I thought that 93 Sweet 16 run was going to take that top half of the bracket, like, without a doubt. And I thought for sure that the winner of this bracket was going to come out of the matchup between the 92 women's NCAA runner-up and the Ty Rogers shot, just because they're so iconic and so, like, such big accomplishments, even just in that moment, you know. But I'm really glad that you know, folks paid this accomplishment of a gold medal the proper amount of respect that it deserves, because look, when you want to talk about clutch performance, it doesn't get any more clutch than the Olympic Games, because you train and you train and you train and you perform and you have to qualify and you have to just keep winning and be one of the best in the freaking world. Not just a medal, but you have to be one of the best in the country, period, to just make it to a team. So, and then you add all that together and you get to a medal round race. So where at least 4 years, you know, it's not like you just start swimming and swim for 4 years and become an Olympic medalist. So this is a lifetime sometimes of work that culminates in what's going to be just a few minutes. You know, you're talking about 100 meters that you've got to swim, and you've got to do your part, and the other 3 members of your team have to do their part, and it has to be flawless in order for you to hope to even make it to the podium, let alone be the fastest one in the pool at that time to make it to the gold medal stand. I just find that to be such a huge clutch performance that even a buzzer-beating three-pointer that sends your relatively small school to the Sweet 16 of the NCAAs. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that that's luck. It's not luck, but, you know, you've got to have a lot of skill to hit a pressure three like that. But there has to be a certain amount of luck in it too, because you don't necessarily get a great look. If you look at that play, it's not like it was a set-up play. It was kind of kind of toss it back to you, and Rogers takes the shot, and it goes in. So I'm not by any means saying it was luck, but there is a certain amount of luck that is involved, because, you know, you inbound the ball, you got to hope that you can get it down the floor cleanly. You got to hope that a defender's not on you, you know, when you turn to throw, and you get a somewhat of an open look, and then you got to hope you get a clean shot off and it goes in. So while that is clutch, I just don't think it's in the same stratosphere as clutch performance as when it comes to the medal round of any Olympic sport, anyone. So, 1999 Herd football is the culmination, in my opinion, of Marshall football. It has not reached a pinnacle higher since that moment. And, they've won a lot of games. They've won a lot of bowl games. And they even went on and won conference championships after that. But they've come nowhere close to being the number 10 ranked team in the country. And if the situation were in place, or the not the, what do you call it? I guess the pathway to the bigger bowl were in place now. If it were in place in 1999, would I like to see, Marshall go up against somebody like a Virginia Tech or somebody like a, Tennessee or something like that? Yeah. Cause that would have been really nice to see what Marshall's, best team could have done against another elite team. You don't finish at number 10 and not be good. So that was also nice that, they didn't get knocked that badly because they were, in the Mid-American Conference and playing a bunch of scrub teams in conference week in and week out. Honestly, the MAC was not very strong in the late 90s. It's not as strong as it is now. Back then it was like Marshall and maybe one other team was decent, and then it was everybody else, and now several teams go bowling every year from the MAC. So, no small coincidence that only one team went bowling in the MAC in the late 90s. So,
well, that was kind of crappy, though, real quick. That was kind of crappy how that was set up because, there were a lot of teams that should have probably been in over some of these more average power conference teams, but that's the same thing now. But there was one instance I remember exactly. I think it was 90. I think it was 98. I'm pretty sure it was 1998. I think Miami of Ohio was like one loss that year. I think they lost like one game. I don't remember what year it was, but I think it was Miami of Ohio, and they lost like one game the entire year, or Toledo, or somebody like one of those two, and they didn't get to a bowl game because they didn't win a conference. To me, that's just that's a crime. And I think they had beat like a Big Ten team or something. I know I'd have to fact check. I didn't think about it until just now, but I know that happened. That right there is just insanity to me.
Yeah, I would have to, right off the top of my head, without guessing, I would have to think it was probably a Miami, Ohio team, like with Roethlisberger as a senior or something like that.
When he was a senior, they were freaking insane. They were I think they were like 13-1 or 12-1 that year, and I think they were like top 15 or so in the country. So I think they were good that year.
So, but like I said, it's because teams like Marshall dominated back then that, it helped push the agenda to open up more bowl games to these smaller conferences. And now we gripe that there are too many bowl games and they need to cut some away because you get some pretty trash matchups. But, now that you don't have football, would you like to watch a trash bowl game right about now? Yeah, bet you would.
Oh, yeah.
So, but anyway, we're going to open these polls tomorrow, and they're going to run for a couple of days, and we're going to try to do something a little bit special. We're going to see if we can find some clips to keep let you look at some of the video if there's some out there. I know there's tons on this 99 Herd team, but I haven't looked. I don't know why I haven't. I haven't looked to see if there's YouTube or video or something of that race from the 2012 Olympics. There very well may be, but that would be pretty cool. So anyway, get out there and vote. Share the poll. Retweet it. We're going to run for a couple days. This is it. And if history keeps on its current path, Marshall is going to show out to vote in these polls, and Western is not. Marshall's poll results, by and large, through this whole ordeal, have been twice that of what Western Kentucky's have been. So if you're going to vote in one poll, you better vote in this one, or else it's just going to be a Herd blowout just by sheer volume alone.
I got to take the blame on that one. At the Herd zone kind of helps the Marshall side of things a little bit.
Well, but still, it's still getting out there. There are plenty of toppers that follow the Moonshine Throwdown account that see that and could go retweet, because that takes no time to do that and get it out to more of their fan base. So I would implore you, toppers, make an effort if you want to have a good showing in this poll, because we all know by now that Marshall loves themselves some online polls, and they do not like to lose. It doesn't matter what it is. They don't want to lose at it. So vote, share, keep sharing. Make sure that your friends, your followers, whatever, are also voting, because let's try to get a legitimate sampling of the fan bases, and let's try to get 500-600 votes in there, something really, or more. But that'll be pretty cool. And we've got something on the burner for tomorrow night. So if you're listening to this tomorrow, it will be tonight. I guess I should say Monday night. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. So be on the lookout for a tweet or something. Once we can get everything nailed down, because I will tell you that we're hoping to go live tomorrow with a live stream for a pretty cool idea on a kind of hot topic that has caught fire here within the last day or two. But it's been a really hot topic off and on for several years, wouldn't you say, Trace?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no wrong answers. People can't seem to. Well, I guess there's plenty of wrong answers. There's no right answers, depending on who you're talking to. But, well, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag because we're not 1,000% sure that it's going to go down tomorrow, but we're hoping that schedules will line out and we can have ourselves a live stream. So if you're able to join us, it'll be late, though, like super late. But, hey, a lot of people aren't working right now. So if you're going to be up, a little bit before midnight and feel like spending an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe with watching us yammer on about something pretty cool, then we invite you to join us at on the Moonshine Throwdown Podcast YouTube channel, because that's where it'll be. If you can't join us, of course, it'll be uploaded as a podcast episode, and you'll get to listen in. So we're also expecting plenty of traffic on the Twitter account based on what you see and hear. So anyway, enough about that. Let's get out of here tonight, Trace, unless there's something else you want to talk about, because we got a few minutes. What the hell? We don't have anything to do. Got anything you want to talk about? If not, give me some final thoughts and we will venture on.
Yeah, as far as final thoughts goes, this whole bracket's been fun to see play out. It seems like each round the votes were going up more, even from the Western side, even though it's pretty obvious that there hasn't been as many votes from the Western ones, but they've seemingly, from what I've noticed, gone up every round. So that's a good sign. And now that it's down to just one, the championship round, the final moment, I'm sure we'll try to get some Western Kentucky some of the bigger Western Kentucky athletic Twitter pages involved, retweeting it, kind of putting it out there. I'll do my part for my, like I've always done on there, and from my Marshall account and so forth. So it'd be cool to see. As far as I guess I'll go ahead and give a prediction, since I don't think we actually officially set our predictions for it yet. But I'll just say the Marshall moment's going to win, just based on the fact that, like you said, the polls from the Marshall side are getting probably close to double the amount of votes so far.
Yeah.
That could change. Like I said, if we get like Barstool Western involved, hint or something like that, then maybe it'll change. It'll shift the tide. But and another thing I think with that is, I know the Western fans aren't going to vote for it, but I feel like more people are just better suited or more inclined to vote for football moments. I think we've said that. I feel like if you would ask the common person that's not a real diehard sports fanatic that's into Olympic sports, they would say, "Oh, well, football team going undefeated at the FBS level, that's got to win, right?" It's just kind of one of those things. Not even though if you really think about it, the Olympic moment is just absolutely just a huge moment athletically. That's like the peak. Like we keep saying, it's the peak of what you can accomplish at that level, and it's just that's the way it is. But but at the end of the day, I think more people will probably, at least common sports fans, will care more about football, and it helps that Marshall's getting more votes on the polls anyway. So, thus far. So I'll just leave it at that. They both are winners. They're both winners in my book, but I'll say the 99 team will win this one.
Well, that's not an unfair assumption, because the numbers have proved that they favor the herd right now, and nobody's going to break alliances. First off, if you're a Marshall fan, you're going to vote for the herd, period. If you're a Western fan, you're going to vote for Western, period. So what Western's going to need to do is get more of those fans to hit that button and hit that retweet button and get more of their fan base to see this. And they're going to have to capture some of those outlying fans from other schools that just happen to see it and feel like voting. So, but I think it ultimately could go either way if both fan bases just vote. I can't sit here and say, well, this is already over, we know who wins, but we don't, because if Western decides to start voting in droves, they can take this team down in a heartbeat. We've seen it. Just recently, they who was it? Fox Sports made that ultimate mascot bracket, and they did not include Big Red in that, which is that's not intelligent at all. I mean, if you're going to do a mascot poll and you don't have Big Red in there, what the hell are you even doing? But
they were just trying to figure out what Big Red is.
Hey, I'll tell you what, enough of those fans laid into him, and by golly, they added him. they did. They put him in like a playoff or play-in game. And I'm like, all right, first off, but I didn't look at that bracket too closely because I thought, you know what? Okay, you don't have Big Red in there. Let me see what you do have. And just in the top quadrant, they had 3 different Tigers. 3. So how good is your freaking bracket if you've got 3 LSU, Auburn, and freaking somebody else, I can't remember, we're all in the same quadrant. Quadrant. It's like, okay. You're not.
Marco got robbed too.
Then at that point, you're not voting mascots. You're voting teams. Right? It's not a mascot at all because there was no UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. All right? Where are they at? Yeah. Where's the Banana Slug love? Where's the Boll Weevil love? You know, where's that at? Come on, that's a mascot, man. You don't have 10 freaking Tigers on there. I can't believe I just ranted on that.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure there were several Wildcats, several Bears, but whatever. I can't believe I just ranted on that. And hey, shout out to the Banana Slugs. I don't know how I pulled that one out of thin air, but shout out to the UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. Been down since junior high. What's up?
Right.
All right, so let's get the heck out of here. One last thing. We posted some cool new – my wife made some cool shirt designs, some updated Moonshine Throwdown shirts. Those things are pretty sweet. If she hasn't been working, so she's got a lot of free time on her hands as well. So if you want any custom tees, anything like that, give her a follow on Twitter at Monograms and Shine. Hit her up if you want something made. She can do just about anything. We'd appreciate it because she gets a little stir crazy and has a little cabin fever. Trace, I know you know what that's all about. So she enjoys making shirts. Hit her up, DM her. She will gladly make you something. But until tomorrow night, hopefully, let's get the heck out of here. Go Tops, Trace.
Stay at home and go hard.
Stay at home. Continue to wash your hands. And we'll see you hopefully tomorrow night. It's the Moonshine Throwdown Podcast. Later.